Hello everyone and welcome to another video in my YouTube channel. Today might be a bit different than I used to make. Usually I use Yap and make a video about my life update. But today, as you might see, I've prepared a few books in front of me. Because today I'm gonna make a book haul. I'm gonna review books that I've had in my room in Bandung. This might be doesn't look like a lot because a lot of my book, most of my books are in Pekanbaru. Didn't bring all of it here because it's such a pain in the ass to broke all of it here. So I got a few titles you might see here. I'm gonna review it, but a few of this book I haven't really finished to read it because one and two things. So let's start to the first title. Let's go. Okay. So this book titled Teh dan Pengkhianat. Okay. Actually, I bought this book. Honestly, until this moment, I still don't know why I bought this book. Maybe I know why. Because I know I love history. I love a book about history, even it's fiction or non-fiction or what. I love a book about history, especially Indonesia history. So as you can see, it's like Dutch and local Indonesian priest, Islam Ustad. Yeah. So, on the synopsis, I'm gonna read it. Dari penulis karya sastra pemenang Kusala Sastra Kartlis 2014 kategori puasa. So it's basically a book about a time where maybe it's like when Pangeran Diponegoro still around, but honestly I haven't finished read it. I haven't read it. I haven't touched this book since I bought it. I'll open it, watch one of a few, and then never really open it. So let's just give it a pass because I never had a chance to read it, so I can't review it. Okay, let's toss it somewhere here. Okay, the next title is Orang-Orang Proyek. Okay, Orang-Orang Proyek is one of the few titles that I'm really interested in reading it because this book basically it's like a sequel, but not really a sequel. It's like an edition that have a similar topics. It's like Indonesia in the past trying to get into the future. It's actually based on a few real events, but they make it, or they, I can't use they, but Ahmad Tohari make it somewhat fictionated, but it was like a few real life events, so that's really an interesting book. The Orang-Orang Proyek, haven't really finished it, but I had a hype on this book, similar on this another title that I might have been. Oh wait, I missed a title from Ahmad Tohari. Wait, give me a second. Okay, so back to it. Orang-Orang Proyek is basically about an engineer who came back to his old village and got a project in there to make something like infrastructure. But you know, village or poor people with infrastructure, they never really worked out. Yeah, they got a lot of things to tell us about, things about to worry about. So in this book, we're gonna read it. So really looking forward to read this, but I haven't finished it. So might be next book on my reading list. Okay, let's touch it. The next title is Lingkar Tanah Lingkar Air. Lingkar Tanah Lingkar Air is the best book so far, novel, fiction book I ever read. So Lingkar Tanah Lingkar Air basically a story about a young man who is an Indonesian Islamic Republic revolutionary soldier and but he got like uncertainty in his heart about this Islamic revolution of Indonesia. So, but he kept going in because his teacher told him to do so, told him to fight in the way of your religion, which is Islam. And a fast view forward, uh, the Islamic revolution got dismantled, the leader got killed, and they all just vanished. But a few years later, there is a Communist Party revolution in Indonesia, kind of coup, the 30th December of Communist Party Indonesia, they're making a coup. So Indonesia were doing let's say a genocide for communists. So these people who used to be the enemy of the soldier, the enemy of the country, are recruited by the country to help them to kill all these communists. So it's a very nice book. I love the story that they use real life events like the Indonesia Islamic Revolutionary Front and then the Communist Party, the year, all of it was just packed up really good in this book. Really recommend it for you all to read. It isn't a really heavy stuff to read, really easy reading, and I love this. I love this book. Easily 10 out of 10. Let's toss it. Okay, the fourth title, which is, I just bring it up, is the name Di Kaki Bukit Cibalak. Di Kaki Bukit Cibalak is a story about, it's actually kind of romance story, but it's like a people who try to live better on the city. So it's like a story of a man who lived in a village and then tried to get a new life in the city by doing school in Yogyakarta, which is university in there, and then he got a bit of a fight inside of his mind, inside of his heart, and this book, all of it will tell a lot in this book. So I haven't finished it, the same with the Orang-Orang project, but actually haven't really worked out this. Di Kaki Bukit Cibalak is only half of it, yeah. It's like kind of romance story too, but that's why, maybe that's why I haven't got the urge to finish it, because I'm not a fan, not really a fan of slice of life stories without a context of history, just like Lingkatan Liter Air, which is the greatest one. Okay, so let's touch it too. So, as you notice, I also read comics, or manga, that a lot of people say. So the title is Sitionta. Sitionta is, I kind of forgot actually, because I bought this book when I'm in my 10th grade, so it's about like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while, and also I stopped at edition 4. It's like an old, like, how to say it? They call it sweeper, a Tokyo sweeper, which is kind of like a police, but not formal. Like a hired police for people who want to investigate, who want to finish things up, to bodyguard or even bodyguard, which is great. I mean, it's kind of have comedy and action and just amazing. This comics is actually amazing, but you know, comics are quite expensive, so I stopped at edition 4. I used to have this with my friend in Pekanbaru, Andrea. We read this book together. So, but since then, I forgot. If she ever brought an edition for me to borrow, but I don't know. I forgot. But one thing is, I stopped at 4. Never really read it since then. Not had a lot of interest in comics anymore, so I stopped at 4 and never really read it anymore. Might tune in back into it a bit. Maybe if I got hooked by the story, I might buy the edition, the 5th edition. Okay, let's touch this 4. Okay, next we finally get to non-fictional books, which is Nusantara. Nusantara is a book about Indonesia portrayed by a Dutch or a Westerners. So the book is written by Bernard Vlekke. Pardon me for the pronunciation, I'm not Dutch. This book is actually written by him or her, I don't know. It's about Indonesian history is portrayed by the Westerners based on how Indonesia could unite as Nusantara, as he read it in his book. How could Indonesia can unite to be Nusantara, and how many culture can blend in one Nusantara. You know, like Islam doesn't came from Indonesia. It came from India. It came from Arab. It came from a lot of places, and they met in Indonesia. So he tells about how Islam can be accepted in Indonesia with a few of modification and a lot of things until 1942. So this book didn't really tell how Indonesia got their independence, because this book is like all of his writing put in one book. So his writing is about he write about Indonesia until 1942, maybe because Japanese came after that, so he left the country. But so yeah, this book is about Indonesia or Nusantara in that time until 1942. Haven't really finished it, but the hype is high. Absolutely gonna finish this book. Lovely. Absolutely, I'm gonna finish this book as soon as possible. Let's toss it. Next title is the greatest book, the greatest biography I've ever had. Maybe because I'm a Man United fan. So it's Alex Ferguson, my autobiography. So this book really tells me a lot of things about Sir Alex Ferguson. I may not really witness Sir Alex Ferguson that much because I was born in 2005, become a Man United fan because Robin van Persie moved there in 2013. Yeah, that at a time. So I'm not really witness him a lot, but as a Man United fan, of course, we really admire him. We really admire him as a United fan, the greatest British football coach of all time, I would say. Yeah, Gareth Southgate is not near that even. So this book really tells me a lot because Alex Ferguson is a kind of people who's actually hate the press. He didn't really talk a lot in the press, but in this book we will know everything that what Sir Alex Ferguson think about. Yeah, about David Beckham, the class of '92. Why does he retire? He also read this book about Arsene Wenger, Jose Mourinho, a lot of things. Really amazing. Maybe as a Man United fan, you must have this book. At that time, I bought this lot of around 150,000 rupiah, yeah, which is not really expensive for this kind of book. So it also got a lot of few photo in here. Lovely. Got this with Sir Matt Busby, rest in peace. Got Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, and the Barcelona team, which he said in this book is the best team that he ever faced. Maybe since that he got a PTSD and want to stop football. Okay, this book a must-have for Man United fans, the greatest biography I've ever read. So let's go to the next book. The next title is still about biography, and the biography is about Sir Stamford Raffles. He's a man, he's a Brit who came to Southeast Asia, firstly to Singapore, but next, after Napoleon conquered the Netherlands, he came to Bengkulu, to manage the Dutch colonies, which had been handed over to the British. So this book is really interesting for me because a lot of Indonesians think a lot, fantasizing a lot about how if our countries got colonized by the Brits instead of the Dutch, because as we all know, a few countries or most of the countries that have been colonized by the Brits usually have a better future, like we see Singapore, Malaysia, or let's say India, even the United States, even though they got break up quite fast. But there's not a few Brit ex-British colonized country which is haven't really doing well in his recent times, like a lot of countries in Africa, like Nigeria and something sort of that. So in this book, tells me a lot about what does the British do in Indonesia, especially in Bengkulu and a few places, because the British didn't really conquer all of the Dutch East Indies in that time, so they got handed a few over as a part of the, or maybe the talks, because in that time Netherlands was conquered by the France at Napoleon War, so England as their enemies had a right to carry over the colony that the Netherlands have. So Raffles come here and do quite a lot of few things. In this book, it tells me a lot about what did the British do in Indonesia, especially Raffles. Basically, he do a lot of things that a bit beneficial for Indonesians in that time, because he introduced a lot of few rules, like landing over, what should I say, land, because in that time the Netherlands was take all of the land that Indonesians have without a rent. So the British introduced a rent that might be beneficial for the Indonesians, but it's just a bit, but at least it's a bit better. So in this book, it tells me a lot about what did the British do in Indonesia and what could have been if British conquered Indonesia for 300 years instead of the Netherlands. Nice book, finished it like 3 years ago. Still one of my best book I've ever had. Yeah, Tim Hannigan, thank you for your book. Next. Last on this list, still a biography. Still a biography about Luis Suarez. Who didn't know him? One of the greatest strikers that football ever witnessed in the 20th century. Actually, I bought this book because I just curious about why does he like to bite people on the pitch. Yeah, maybe that. But this book really tells me a lot about how Luis Suarez, who came from a not really rich family, can be a top footballer, and his journey from Uruguay goes to Netherlands, and from Netherlands thriving in England until he moved to Barcelona and winning things. It told me a lot, but this book is actually about Luis Suarez until 2015, so it's not the most updated kind of books, yeah, because since that Luis Suarez obviously has won a lot of things. He's won everything. He's one of the greatest strikers in this world in the 20th century. Absolutely recommend this if you like football. You're gonna love to read this. You're never gonna get bored to read this. You will know another side of Luis Suarez that the public had ever known. Yeah, basically that. Okay, let's start it. So that's it. A few titles from my mini book collection, because most of my book collection were in Pekanbaru. Didn't bring all of it here, but that's it. I just curious and want to share what did I actually read to you all. And about life update, maybe I'm gonna make one soon, because this semester is about to an end and it's time for a life update. But I think that's it. That for the book haul, kind of because I had a few books that I haven't read at all, so I can give you an insight about the book. Actually, I bought a new book yesterday, but it isn't here because I sent it to somewhere else. So hopefully the receiver can read the book and tell us the insight about the books. I think that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening me talking to the camera about a book. Thank you. Have a nice day and see you all very soon.